pretty close on some of these rankings,
they're not
too.
off at all. So, Travis, if you want to run through the top 4, and then I'll take the bottom 5, the bottom 4. See, the top 8 get in. The first 4 host. The bottom 4 have to go.
So Ridgeview, obviously number 1 right now in our division. Union in at 2. Grayson
2D,
County,
I think, is interesting to say.
Grayson County in at 3, and Graham right there at 4. That's your top 4 teams if the playoffs started tonight.
Yeah, they would be hosting. Here are the teams who would be traveling. Virginia High at 5. Richlands the 6th seed. John Battle the 7, and Lee High the 8th. Could you imagine 6th seed Richlands rolling into Union? Or not Union, but rolling into Grayson County? I believe I might pick the Blue Tornado in that one. That's always a tough one. That's like last year when Richlands went in as like a 7 seed or an 8 seed and almost knocked off Union, who was the top. So Richlands, it doesn't really matter. They play such a tough schedule that they don't get the credit in the points. Just on the outside looking in at 9 is Tazewell, Marion at 10, Wise Central 11, Gate City 12, and Lebanon at 13. So as things stand, Ridgeview would host Lee if the playoffs started today. Union would host John Battle. Grayson County would host Richlands. And Graham would host Virginia High. So we'd have to head over into Bluefield for that game. And I have memories from last year when we went to Graham. I don't really want to go back. Plus, we'd be playing them again, because we're going to play them next week.
Yeah, that would be a throwback, like you said, to last season.
So with that,
played Marion in back-to-back weeks.
I just thought that was interesting to throw in and get everybody kind of updated on the regional scope of this because, of course, everybody's playing for something, and it's mainly points in the VHSL standings. Let's go to our Cats 360 interview with Cooper Gobble. It was from Bearcat Sports Chat a couple of nights ago. I hope you enjoy. This is the junior linebacker for the Cats, and we'll be right back. When we get back, we'll talk about some of the scores around the district and adjustments that need to be made. Dylan Hutton now joined by Cooper Gobble, and Cooper, junior linebacker, and also play a little bit of offense on the other side of the football. And thank you for joining us, first of all.
Thanks for having me.
So let me see. So it seems like you're always, whatever you're on defense, it seems like you're always around the football. We talk about this during the broadcast. Is that just from scouting, you think, or is it just being at the right place at the right time?
I think it just starts with the reads. I mean, just seeing the guard tackle bubble to flow and following it, trusting it.
So being halfway through the season, like most of your teammates, you play both ways and get very few breaks on Friday night, so it'll wear you down along the way. How much better condition do you feel like you are now than that you've been able to experience 5 games?
I think the first game was rough, being in there mostly the full game. But after that, it feels like it slowed down a little bit, especially in the second half of games. It's cooler, not breathing as hard, So I think it's coming along.
You were at Abingdon last year when you knocked off the Falcons in your career. Where does that game rank for you? Last year we had a lot of big wins, so where would that one rank?
I think last year was our best win, honestly. The best game I've watched and been a part of in a long time. So I'd probably rank that game number 1, honestly.
Yeah, I think that one, maybe Marion. The first one, not the last one, the last game of the season when they were undefeated. But, is there any plays that stand out to you in that game?
In that game, the last play, whenever the running back just didn't even touch Dean and he runs in, sacks quarterback, wins the game. And honestly, that's probably the only one I can remember. But I'd say that last play is the one that sticks in my brain the most.
So let's talk a little bit about the Abingdon game. We heard Coach Mabe say that the game was almost like a rivalry game. Where do you rank this game as far as rivalry status?
I'm not going to go as far as Mabe. I think Tennessee High is definitely above this one, but it's right up there with it. It's a close second.
Why do you feel like the Abingdon game is second, not John Battle for that matter?
There's not really a lot of beef with Battle, It's kind of it's a chill game, I guess, and especially with Abingdon where I go to church, it's on the Abingdon side, so it's always fun to either I get trash talked after the game or I get to trash talk them, so it's kind of fun to brag a little, I guess, after the game if we win.
So since we are into October and we asked Coach Mabe about the Halloween costumes, can you give us a couple of your best Halloween costumes that you've had?
I don't remember a lot of Halloween costumes. I remember I had a Transformers one year. I was Optimus Prime.
Oh, man.
Last one I remember ever doing was I just had this like goblin mask and I couldn't breathe in it. I was stressing out about that the whole night, but I don't remember a lot. I've had a Batman one. Batman for Coach Reese, for Coach Sidnor, yeah.
Another offensive question here for you. What's it like blocking for the running backs that we have this year? Aaron and Stevie, for what those guys can do.
I mean, it's sometimes it's difficult just off where the placement of the defensive line is, but like especially on stretch, if I can't reach the guy and I can just have to take him out, they're good with the A-Mike and Stevie are good with the reads and just cut it up. So I mean, you don't have to worry about getting the perfect block all the time.
Yeah, those guys, if you miss a block and Aaron's coming through full speed, sometimes you can get away with it, right?
Yeah.
Makes it a little bit easier. It's hard to bring down Aaron. I think everybody's figured that out at this point. Where do you feel like where can this team finish from what we've seen so far through the first 5 games? Where's the goals at? Have they even changed?
I think last game, like Coach Mabe said, we just didn't have energy, and I think this week we've brought that energy back. So I think we're back to just the fundamentals, playing fun, having fun, playing fast. I think the first 3 wins, that's what we did. So I think we just have to get back to that. So I think we're heading in the right direction right.
Listen to Virginia High School football on your computer or mobile device at Spreaker.com/Bearcat Radio.
Welcome back to the Sesco Group Insurance halftime report from Gene Malcolm Stadium in Bristol, Virginia, on the Virginia side of the state line. This is Dylan Hutton along with Travis DeBus. The Cats trail the Abingdon Falcons of the Mountain 7 District 14-0 at the intermission of tonight's contest. And let's go to Travis for those regional score reports. Those are always interesting to keep up with, so we'll go to the regional scoreboard.
Yeah, Tazewell and Richlands. Richlands leads that game 14-0 at halftime.
Watch out.
Yeah, look at that.
At Richlands, too.
The headache continues for Gate City. Marion leads 24-0. That game is also at half. Still, just midway through the second quarter, score from Lebanon. Graham 50, Lebanon 0. So the beatdown continues there. Hey, what about a defensive battle here at halftime? John Battle 3, Wise Central 0. Patrick Henry and Holston, PH leads that game 14-0 at half. No score update from J.I. Burton and Honaker. Union 21-0 over Lehigh at halftime. And midway through the second quarter, the friends from across the state line over there at Tennessee High, Stone Castle, where they don't have play clocks, they lead Cocke County 13-8.
So that's your regional scoreboard report. Again, here during the Sesco Group Insurance halftime report. For all of your auto, home, life, and commercial insurance needs, call Bearcat alumnus Jason Stevens at 276-644-9130, offering a great insurance, offering the right policy with great rates. So make sure you check out Sesco Group Insurance. We'll go to Travis for some of those stats that our statistician Kevin Corbett dialed up for us.
Hey, interesting. One thing that really stands out to us, Virginia High offensively, only 20 snaps there in that first half. Jamie Lathrop, 3 of 7 passing, 52 yards. Rushing, Cats are rushed the ball 13 times for 31 yards, so only 83 total yards of offense for Virginia High in the first half. Stevie Thomas, 3 rushes for 46 yards.
And I think to add on to that, only 3 possessions for the Bearcats. So
correct.
Have to remember that. That's not a lot for a high school first half.
It's
for
not.
A team that's not running the option like Abingdon is not.
Abingdon, they're 3 of 7, 42 yards passing through the air. Rushing, they've rushed the ball 29 times. They've kept it on the ground quite a bit. But like I say, they had many negative plays. They've got 91 yards on those 29 rushes. Lucas, their leading rusher, he's carried the ball 17 times for 42 yards, 133 total yards for Abingdon in the first half. So just for the game, just a little over 200 yards combined between the two teams in the first half. So what seemed like a whole lot of offense wasn't very much.
So Martin Lucas with 42 yards. He had 98 last week against Wise Central, who evidently is doing pretty good on defense. They've held battle to 3 in that first half action in that important points game, really, for John Battle. They need that one to sort of stay afloat, as they're just inside that 2D ranking to stay in the playoff hunt. Of course, still a long way to go, but you don't want to lose any along the way, do you?
So I think this is going to be a very important first drive here for Virginia High. It seems like we say that every week, but the Cats really getting the ball first to lead off second half tonight, down 14-0. They've shown the ability to move the ball down the field, but still unable to punch it into the end zone. So big time spot here. If we can get this opening kickoff, take it down the field, cut this deficit in half, come out and play defense the way we have, whole new ball game.
And we had 3 turnovers in the first half. We had the drop punt by the Bearcats, but then Abingdon with 2 interceptions, both of them by Will Brown. What about the first half by him coming in to fill in for Austin Davidson?
Oh, yeah, great.
In typical AD fashion, he gets.
Yep, he filled those shoes very well. Penalties, 7 penalties altogether there in the first half, 4 of them on Virginia High, 3 on Abingdon.
So an interesting first half of action. You know, we were kind of talking about during one of the commercial breaks in the first half. Virginia High was winning the field position battle. The defense was playing great. The fumble or the muffed punt happens, and then all of a sudden Abingdon takes it right down, and it seemed like something was clicking at that point on for them offensively. So at the best, at least, you're getting the ball at half, Virginia High is, and it's really Abingdon who chose that. They won the toss and elected to receive to open the contest.
We're going to look down on the field, man. Coach Christ is still out there with the officials trying to see what he's got. Seems to be imitating the center snapping the football.
Makes me think that maybe there's a snap infraction or something going on. Maybe he's moving the ball a little bit prior. But it is interesting to see Coach Christ
he's animated,
discussing this much with the referee. And, you know, it'd be interesting tonight. You know, we don't have our sideline reporter with us tonight, but it'd be interesting to have him just maybe get an idea of what is happening as Coach Christ is still jawing with the refs out here. There's about a minute and a half to go before the second half gets back up and going. Next broadcast, again, will be Thursday night against the Graham G-Men, who are already at 100 against Lebanon. So the Graham G-Men and that electric offense with Purdue commit Cam Allen will roll into the Gene next week.
Maybe they use up all their points tonight and don't have any left for. So our third Thursday night special of the season.
And it looks like Graham is going to be undefeated in the district coming in after tonight's game, and Virginia High 1-0 in district play, so it'll really be an important Southwest District contest.
Battle for first place.
Coverage from the Gene will begin at 6:30. Kickoff at 7 on Spreaker.com/Bearcat Radio. It'll be the 42nd meeting between the Cats and the G-Man. Graham leads the series all-time 24-15-2. They played in 2017 for the first time since 2010. Graham won 45-7. So Graham and Virginia High hadn't played since, till last year, since 2010. Virginia High has the longest win streak in the series. They won 81-06. They won 8 games in that time span. So it's not been a rivalry game to that extent that we've seen 87 games here with the Cats and Abingdon, or even for that matter Tennessee High or John Battle. But it's a pretty over almost close to 50 games played between those two teams, and just a 9-game difference in those 50 games. So it's been an interesting game.
Been a competitive series all along then.
And Virginia High was the powerhouse, around the 80s, 70s, and 80s. So now we know the powerhouse in the district is Graham, for that matter. So it's going to be interesting
Chris
to see it.
Still having a conversation. Moved on to the side judge now.
Yeah,
to talk to him a little bit about what's going on. Yeah, I wish we had somebody down there that could tell us. Yeah, we may step next door and see if I can get some.
So the buzzer goes off, and we'll get set here for the second half, as that was the Sesco Group Insurance halftime report. As Coach Christ is fired up down there trying to get his offense, as we'll get the ball first to open this second half of action. So the return team out on the field for the Bearcats as the crowd comes alive, needing a comeback, trailing 14-0. Yeah, it's interesting because he's talked to about every referee. It makes you wonder what the issue is.
Georgia Tech tacks on another touchdown right before half in that ACC Friday night special, extending their lead over Louisville.
So we'll have the State Line Motors third quarter set to be underway as Graham Griffith, the kicker, with the State Line Motors kickoff in the air, and we're underway in the second half. 14-0 Abingdon leading, and the kick goes straight out of bounds. Be Virginia High ball at 35.
Them tonight. Battle just scores a touchdown to come out in the third quarter to extend that lead there to 10-0. Fourth penalty of the night of the Falcons.